Hello friends, I, Deepa Moghe, welcome you to this very first episode of Tumcho Amcho Cinema in English, a series of film reviews originally presented in Konkani by Jnanish Moghe. Every Sunday, we were so used to reading newspaper reviews of the films released on a Friday. But due to the closure of the cinema halls, and as there are no theatre releases in the last few months, we are unable to read any film reviews. Though films have stopped being released in theatres, they are in fact more easily available on various digital platforms. It is agreed that cinema is to be enjoyed in groups. But today, in this pandemic situation, Netflix, Hotstar, Prime Video, or YouTube provide us the platforms to enjoy films in our own individual spaces. These streaming services have opened up a treasure of amazing movies for us. We are already forgetting the days when we would buy a 250 rupees ticket to watch a film in a theatre with a pack of popcorns in our hands. These digital platforms have thrown open a huge collection of movies, sometimes making it difficult to decide upon which ones to watch. You may miss on some really good movies. Besides, it is not really enough to just watch a good movie. You can truly enjoy a movie when you understand the various aspects of its making and when you learn to appreciate it. Cinema is an audio-visual medium. Hence, audio and visuals become the language of cinema. Our reviews will focus on understanding the various aspects of the language of cinema and the grammar behind this language. It will involve different forms of films like feature films, short films, and documentaries as well. Let me now get back to the review of the film for this episode. The name of the film is American Son. The reason for choosing this film for the first episode is George Floyd. The very recent anti-racism protest in America that was triggered by the death of George Floyd, an unarmed black man in police custody for a trivial reason, when a white police officer kept kneeling on his neck for almost 9 minutes while he was pinned to the floor. This incident opened our eyes to the extreme racism that still exists in a progressive country like America, which boasts of equal rights. No doubt, this mindset of discrimination prevails not only in America, but all over the world. The film American Son tries to unveil the psychology behind this kind of mindset. It tries to understand the reactions of both the exploiters and the exploited towards this kind of mindsets. The story of the film is a short one. An African American mother has come to a police station as her son has gone missing. She's there for quite a long time. But the junior police officer who is on duty is of no help other than just filing her complaint. In the meantime, her husband, who is a white man, arrives at the police station. Seeing the white husband, the approach of the junior police officer changes. He is a little more helpful now. But he says that he is not in a position to reveal much information until his senior officer arrives. The son of this estranged couple, even though the father is a white man, is looked upon as a black. The couple is now aware that their son was stopped by the police, but they have no idea what has happened with him thereafter. Eventually, when the senior officer arrives at the police station, the truth of the entire incident is revealed. What is it that has happened with the son? Is a question that makes everybody restless. And while attaining the culmination of this restlessness, this story critically analyzes the psychology behind the black white discrimination prevalent in the present American society. Race is the child of racism, not the father. The film begins with this very statement. It means that racism is born out of the racial superiority that is deep rooted in our minds. The director puts forth this perspective of his right at the onset. This film is originally based on a Broadway play, American Son. The entire story happens in the reception hall of a police station. Hence, we see only one location throughout the film, except for 4 different locations during flashback scenes, but those are for a very short while. The film begins with the scene of the mother of the almost 18 years old missing son and the white junior police officer on duty at the station. In the very first scene, through the dialogues, the audience is exposed to the subtle display of white supremacy and the subjugating attitude of white men towards the black people. Even after the mother says that the boy's name is Jamal, the police officer very presumingly asks her whether his nickname is Peanut, Black, or Pookie. The way we have names for our gangsters like Chota Rajan, Beuda Khalid, or Iqbal Mirchi. The police officer easily presumes that the black boy has to have a cheap street name. When the restless mother is trying to understand the reason behind the police officer's non-cooperative behavior, though initially she says, "I have no idea," she comes back later with, "Well, that's not true. I have some idea why." The playwright of the play American Son, Christopher Brown, has himself written the screenplay for the film adaptation. The dialogues are so wisely written that they perfectly uncover the mentality of the different characters at play. When the police officer says that he too has 2 children and tries to sympathize with the mother of the missing son, she retaliates by asking him, "Any of them black?" He obviously says no. She continues to say, "Then let's skip the empathy technique, because believe me, you got no idea." The police officer falls silent. We come across several twists and turns throughout the film, like the father of the son being white, the senior most investigating officer being a black. The police officer who stops her son's car is also a black man. The being black or white of the various characters does not seem to bring about any constructive change in the happenings taking place, because by then they are completely occupied with preconceived notions. The father burdens his black son with the undue expectations emanating from his white superiority mindset. He admits his son to the school run for the white kids. While doing so, he completely overlooks the possibility of his son feeling lost and uncomfortable in that surrounding. In the bid, he fails to understand that his son is drifting away from him. The mother is black, but is highly educated. She is a professor of psychology. She wants to improve her son's language, so she makes it a point to teach him English herself. In this racial hierarchy system, in a way, she too is being unfair towards her son. The screenplay writer very wisely brings to our notice that not only our language, but also the way of dressing is an indication of racism. In this country, racial discrimination is so deep-rooted that when the black son is out on the streets, the mother is tormented by nightmares of hovering figures from certain sections of society menacingly charging towards her.
Sudden moves.
The fearsome man with a swastik tattooed on his arm does frighten her. But more horrifying is the sight of her son being stopped by the police for no real reason. Their heavy boots, their badges, the batons in their hands have given her many sleepless nights. When she describes about the unrest her son is experiencing, she says, "He is going through an awakening." What is this awakening about? It is about his skin, the color of his skin. And while going through this state of turmoil, the son describes himself as the face of the race. Though this story is a sketch of the contemporary period, there is something very metaphoric about its construct. The entire story happens at one location, that is, the reception hall of the police station. The building in which the police station is housed is an old building, which seems to linger under the shadows of the past. The separate arrangements made for the black and the white during the olden days still exist in that building. This distinct feature of the building is very much symbolic of the present day America. It brings to our notice the demeaning approach that the white society nurtures towards the black people even today in modern America. Speaking of the technical aspect, it becomes increasingly challenging for the director when a film is shot at a single location. The director should be able to make proper use of the camera movements as well as the movements of the characters so that he can effectively build and depict the tension and the conflicts in the film. But in this case, Kenny Leon delivers a little below the mark as a director. The spacious reception hall and the settings in that space may seem suitable for a play, but it does not help in setting the mood for a film. 12 Angry Men, one of the most acclaimed films, directed by Sidney Lumet, also shot at a single location, makes one realize the significance of camera movements and character compositions in films like these. But as the dialogues in the film American Son aptly deliver the content and precisely express the thoughts, it becomes successful in keeping the audience glued to the screen throughout. This film competently analyzes the psychology behind racism at the various individual levels, be it black, white, husband or wife. At the outset, we see an outside scene from the glass panel of a car. It is raining continuously. Through the glass are seen the colorful spots of car lights passing by. The wipers are on. It seems as if these wipers are constantly trying to wipe out those colorful spots seen through the glass. Through this very first scene, the director tries to bring our attention to the hard truth behind this colorful, beautiful looking world we live in. It is constantly pouring outside. Once the film is over, not only the characters, but also the rain lingers in our minds for a long time, creating a strong impression. The character of the mother of the missing son is very well portrayed by Kerry Washington. We have watched her amazing performance in Quentin Tarantino's Django Unchained. Considering her previous performances, we can only say that she has done a fair job here. As this film is based on a play, and moreover, the treatment of the film is also much like a play, it may have laid limitations on the actors. But as I said earlier, the meaningful content and the skillfully written screenplay has made this film impactful. May it be the racism there or casteism here, the sufferings of the exploited remain universal. And that is the reason one can easily relate to this film. Friends, Do watch this film, available on Netflix. Next week, we shall talk about Anand Gandhi's Ship of Theseus. You can watch this film on Amazon's Prime Video. Let me tell you, it is one of the most important films in Indian cinema. To watch our coming episodes, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Vinsan Academy of Film and Media. So see you next week. Goodbye till then.